Brother Dame, I want to thank the two of you for joining with me and me with you all here. Brother Derrick, here at Real to Real, one of the things Brother Damon and I have we embarked upon is having those discussions that we personally think that we wish we would have had before we set our foot to get married. And we've discussed on several occasions that even coming into the nation for him and for me as well, for the nation, marriage really wasn't on our mind. Specifically, like what to look for and what we should be looking to exhibit as husbands. And so we definitely thank you, brother, for joining the conversation. I want to thank Brother Damon for keeping us busy, making sure invites go out to brothers like yourself.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. I was actually kind of surprised because I actually was under the impression that we was going to talk about talking about the book. But hey, I have a section in the book that's dealing with relationships.
Yes, sir. Well, brother, I definitely want to give you that opportunity to talk about it, because when you mentioned it, I was like, that's perfect, because we really strive for these things to be organic. And we know that there are brothers like yourself who have something already to share, without necessarily us having to ask you or prompt you with questions. But we just want to give you the floor for the first 10 to 15 minutes, brother, to talk about your book, and specifically as it relates to relationships.
May I say something real quick too?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Also, I invited you because you're trying to do a community center. So I wanted to bring you on so you could advertise that, and and I know you're selling the book, in hopes to start the community center.
Right.
Yes.
Well, like I say, brother, I've had a podcast before, so hey, I'm ready to go. Whatever topics y'all want to go with, we'll go with.
Well, brother, tell us about your book. Tell us about your book.
Well, the book is called Life Supplications, and us as believers coming into the Nation of Islam, man, we are brought through the rough side of the mountain, even from beginning to end. and I do believe that a lot of how we come about the knowledge that we require, that we receive over the years, comes from our experiences. And that's something that really needs to be examined by all of us, because I don't think any one of us that are members of the Nation of Islam that we're here by mistake. Allah had to tap us to bring us into the nation. And what the book is actually chronicalizing. I've been in the nation for 38 years, and I was 19 when the message first came to me from a family member. And here I am. I'll be making 57 this year.
Man, don't look 30,
it. So when you look back at 38 years, brother, you have a story to tell.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And I also been married. When I married, it was 20. I was 27.
Yeah.
And so me and my wife, we've been together for that long period of time.
Oh, man, praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Brother.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead, brother. Oh man, and you're in the city of Houston?
Yes, sir.
Very well. Yes, sir.
Born and raised, and hot as the dick. But I love it because I was born in the time of the heat.
Yes, so you were born in the summertime?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, sir.
In the summer. Can't stand the winter though.
Yes, sir. Brother, for relationships and for you to be married as long as you have been married, I know that there's some principles that you have taken into yourself personally that has guided you along the way. What would you say some of those principles are?
first of all, you got to be evenly yoked.
Mm.
And that's been a problem that I've been seeing with most of the relationships, especially in our community.
Yes, sir.
Some of us, we just get married because we didn't got out there and fathered a child.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us got married because we thought that the love was there. But then some of us got married, and I hate to say this to some of us, but some of us got tricked into marriage.
Wow.
And the reason why I say tricked into marriage, because the woman was looking for a good man. And women know how to play the game until they get the man. Then next thing you know is after a year, probably 4 or 5 years, then the real person started merging out.
Wow.
Then you start seeing exactly who it was that you actually married. Now, us as being believers, we are duty-bound people. Coming into the nation, the first thing you do, you go into FOI or MGT class, and you're learning how to eat, to live. You're learning how to be a good husband, a good wife. Well, that's one of the reasons why we go through those processes. However, some of us start thinking that we know a little bit more than the people who set up the class.
Right.
Then we go out there and get somebody else that's outside of the nation and wonder why you have a surprise.
Wow.
Truth is truth.
It's the truth.
Yes, sir. You're right. You're right.
I remember the John Lennon of the Beatles had a song that says that you can't hide when you're crippled inside. When you're crippled inside, I mean, you can go put on the clothes, you can put on the shoes, comb your hair, and then next thing you notice, after a few years, you discover that you've been sleeping with the enemy. Not that the person is not faithful or loyal to you, but they really have not accepted the teachings as you have. And in the long run, that is not good. Especially living in the time that we're living in, because you can say something, give a command or order to not go somewhere or do something, but because of that, I would say probably not having the faith in the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. If you both don't have faith like that, then it's going to pose a problem in the long run. And it may not manifest right when you first get started, but it will manifest in the children that you produce.
Man, you teaching. Come on, man, you teaching.
Because we have heard this before, man. We bring our children up, we bring them up in without eating pork. We bring them up dressing nice. You know, I always try to be upfront with the teachings and stuff. And then after they grow up and then they leave, the next thing you notice, they not practicing those principles anymore. Why is that? Was it that because father wasn't strong in the teaching, or mother wasn't strong in the teaching? No, it was that tug of war that went on between you two. And more than anything, the woman is gonna win out when it comes to the children.
That's right. I bear witness. Come on.
Yeah, it's true. The woman is gonna win out, because if the woman is not in 100% agreement with you, then the children, they're watching all this, and the children gonna always gravitate to the one that wants to, kind of give a blind eye to what they are trying to sneak to do.
Wow.
Right?
That's right.
we all was children ourselves. We done it.
Right.
That's right.
We don't go hunting for daddy.
Uh-uh.
We go hunting for mama.
That's right.
That's the truth.
We know dad gonna say, nah, no way. But mama, man, why you come ask me? Go ask your father. But she doing it in such of a more quiet, subtle way to where the child gonna say, well, you know, mama ain't gonna say nothing, so I ain't worried about that.
Wow. Wow. You know, brother, as you're talking about that, I think that's very true. How children, we watch the small disagreements. And I saw it in my son as a young boy. He would see that his mother was a little less, if I tell him to do something, he'd look at her, see what she's gonna say. See if she's gonna say something against what I said. What you're saying is 100% true. Brother, continue more on that subject where from your vantage point, I know that being married and going through the difficulties that you've went through, you were able to see what other couples are going through. What would you say is another issue that you've seen happen, or issues that you've seen in the marriages of those of us who are in the nation?
I made mention of a tug of war.
Yes.
Even with those of us who are married to Muslim sisters, it's always a tug of war. And that's where the problem is, because I done seen too many couples to where if the wife and the husband is on the same track with each other, they build. They build together. They have a successful marriage. But if I take myself as an example, I'm a writer, I'm an author, and I love always delving into the spirituality of things. But if my wife is not with that, but she has other projects that she wants to do, we both can never come together on one project. So that's where the tug of war come in at. As long as you constantly, you got your ideas on how you want to do things, and I have my ideas on how I want to do things, and we never meet up in the middle, nothing can get built. And you wonder why there's such of a struggle going on in the families, in the marriage. Because truth be told, Muslims divorce too.
Yes, sir.
I mean, even though it's referred to in the Quran that Allah hates divorce. But my God, we don't want you to sit up and be constantly killing each other.
No, sir.
Right.
Or constantly living unhappy because nothing will move. And unfortunately, in this something that whenever a divorce take place, the other person who had the idea of trying to build something, they go on to build something without the person that they started with.
Wow.
And it should not be that way.
Come on.
But yet it is a reality because we all have a label on our back and it says made in America.
Yeah. That's powerful, brother. That's powerful. As you've and you're on, if you're 27, you're 56. So you've almost been married a little over 30 years now.
Yes. Well,
Wow. Yes,
well, actually, let's see. Cause I got married at 27. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Wow. Yes, sir. Was there ever, and I know this is a rhetorical question because I know there's difficulties in marriage. Think of was there a particular detail that pops up in your mind that you had to overcome, where it got so it could have just went one way or the other, but you overcame it?
That's an interesting one right there, because as a believer, and especially a believer that's being fashioned to do work to affect others, you're gonna be tried in a lot of circumstances. first of all, you're going to be tried by your families. And I do remember once the sister-in-law, and you run to them sister-in-laws, man, to where they probably had a difficult time in their life, but they see you and your wife, you're trying to build something, and it's something different, especially by being Muslim.
Wow.
It's something different to them. So at one time, I was accused of starving my family. Yeah, DPS came to the house and everything.
Wow.
And on the basis of a lie. This is a person who who don't live with you.
Wow.
But you know how it is whenever you in the state or where anywhere in the country, I believe, that all they just got to do is just make an allegation.
That's right.
Yeah, especially with something like that. And Child Protective Service came to the house, and I invited them in. Had a big old picture of Farrakhan on the wall. And she came in, then black woman. We entertained that sister. And when she left there, she said, "I don't see nothing wrong here."
Yes,
Oh, she was so entertained.
yes, sir.
But it's trying to overcome those type of struggles within family.
Wow.
That start off. I mean, your family, because you know how it is, brothers. Especially if your family don't have anything to do with Islam, then you just popped in. All of a sudden, I'm a Muslim.
Right.
To them. How did your mama take it? How did your dad take it? How did your sisters and brothers take it? And the family.
That's right.
They didn't take it so well. They didn't understand. But unfortunately, some families, man, they went to the extreme with it. Some believers told me, man, they have been slapped by their mamas. Some had weapons pulled out on them.
Wow.
All because they took on a different faith. And it ain't nothing that but once I think about it, in a way, that was really something that was helping to build you up. And to see that how you gonna act, because the first time you become a Muslim and say that I believe in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I believe that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their divine reminder. I believe that Master Farad Muhammad was Allah in person. The minute you start saying that and believe it, I can guarantee each and every one of you who hearing the sound of my voice, you was hit with a hard trial.
Right. Sure enough.
And those trials don't stop. Even though the Quran say you get tried every year, it seems like us as Muslims in the Nation of Islam in this Western Hemisphere, you getting hit with a trial more than once a year.
That's right.
True.
Because it's always a struggle, an uphill battle. And as the study guys said, the struggle for balance, that's very important. In the building of human potential, the first study guide, if you all remember, that Minister Farrakhan gave to us, I remember when they used to come to us in the mosque, it didn't have no book cover or nothing like that. It was just sheets of paper that you had to pay $1 for.
Yes, sir.
The first one was mixed feelings and controversy. And that's the first thing that you have to go through in the marriage. You got to put yourself through those mixed feelings and controversy that's going to come out from everybody.
Wow.
You don't know you can't hear all the little back talk that's going on, but you can sense
it. Yes, sir.
And Lord knows, man, you get married to a female, especially if they're part of a faith that is like, well, I would say Church of God in Christ. Them brothers and sisters, man, they like to be so locked up. They don't want to hear nothing.
That's true. I grew up in the Church of God in Christ.
Yeah, but they don't realize that us as Muslims, we understand the philosophy behind that.
Right.
Because look at the title, brothers. Church of God in Christ. We're not far from that. We believe that God is in everybody. The life force is in everybody. So therefore, God is in Christ first, not Christ in God.
Right.
But they don't, but people like that, they don't understand that. And when you marry into a family like that, that mixed feeling controversy is real.
Yes,
and just like when you and I became Muslims, it took about 3 years before our families really get to the realization that, hey man, this boy ain't turning around.
right.
He's gonna be who he is. 3 is the number of trials. And 3 years would definitely tell you the story. Now, when you're talking about coming into relationships and family, man, look, one of the main things, like from dealing with the question you asked earlier, brother, one of the main things that I did as a Muslim, cause my wife wasn't Muslim at the time when we married. I mean, before we met. I took 6 straight months teaching her about my lifestyle.
Wow.
And who I was. And that's some of the things that we have to do, man. Courtship is very important. Very important, especially if you want to make a righteous family.
That's right.
You have to practice that courtship. If you don't, you don't know what you get. It's like one brother Farrakhan used to bring up about the box of chocolates. You know, some of that chocolate, boy, you love it, man. You be eating it, and then if you just becoming a Muslim, just coming out the world, man, you know you be sneaking, eating on that nougat in them peanuts. Ain't nobody see me at the mosque on the other side of town. And the weird thing about it, and boy, and ain't it something? I remember watching the Flintstone once. The old cartoon. Y'all remember the Flintstone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, I think it was Fred. Fred wanted to give up some weight. And so what ended up happening, it seemed like when he joined that group, these people would pop up everywhere. And they'd make this sound, oink, 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 and take the food. Well, it's just like Muslims. If you think that coming into this, you're not gonna be caught trying to backslide on some of the things you used to do, and it's something that the minute you try something, a Muslim will pop up somewhere.
Yeah, where it came from. That's so true.
You trying to come out the package store. I'm gonna get that last drink. Then a Muslim come walking down the street. You be like, what the hell?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's true. Oh man, the shock. You can't hide it now.
I'm telling you, man. You be trying to do all kinds of things. At least back in the day when Minister Farrakhan then was around, they would have a hat. Remember, the minister said he put his little marijuana into the hat band.
Right.
Yeah, man. But things are different now, man. And it seems like wherever you go, you're gonna always be on display.
Right.
And that's how it is, man. Whenever you become a member of the nation, or even if your wife is not a a member, because many of us, we are in those situations. You even have many ministers in the nation that wives are not, you know, they're there with you, but they don't come to the mosque with them.
Right.
Or they don't come to the mosque with you. It's a lot of people like that. And come through the nation. Like I say, I was 19. I met Minister Farrakhan when I was 20 years old. He came down to establish Mosque 45 here. Once we got our 40 members and became a full-fledged mosque, the minister came down and show you the difference of the time. Minister Farrakhan came on the airplane by himself. He didn't have no FOI with him.
Wow.
The FOI walked him there to Chicago, put him on the airplane, and he landed here. And us here, we went and picked him up from the airport. The minister, on his way to the mosque, he wanted to get out and walk.
Yeah.
He was walking on the street. It was interesting when you go back and start studying the history on how you became a mosque or in a group. Man, you'd be surprised, man. We need to really tell our stories and open ourselves to that type of history. So I have started here in Houston writing the history here, because we have a lot of people here who have helped to establish us here in the nation and you know, in our mosque, and some are not here with us now.
That's right.
And I as a believer felt that I need to sit down and write that history that way, because you can tell if your marriage is gonna stand the test of time, because when you leave, then that's when you don't see the wife anymore. That's when you don't see the children anymore. And after all the sacrificing that you have done, there needs to be somebody to tell your legacy.
Wow.
Because we went through holy hell to establish things here. Right now, you know, here in Houston, we are the Southwest Regional headquarters here. So therefore, Minister Abdul Halim Muhammad, he serves you brothers there in Fort Worth. He served Dallas. He served Oklahoma. You know, and I believe I need to ask him, but I think some certain parts of Louisiana as well.
That's right.
So you know, I would hate for any of us to pass on, because looking at the dynamics of our families, chances are when you go, then the children go. Islam, you see your children, if you can, after you pass away, but you know you can't. But when you pass away, can you imagine you been in this thing for 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, and you pass away and there's nobody left to carry on your legacy and your work?
That's deep.
Yes, sir. So that's why I say, man, we really gotta be yes, our marriage is very important to us.
Yes, sir.
As we was groomed for it. But how to make marriages last if you got one on one side want one thing and one on the other want something else, you know, it's going to be a hard middle of the road thing going on in your household. And when what the scriptures say, a house that is divided,
well, yeah, that's right,
cannot stand.
That's right. You know, brother,
yes,
as you were speaking about some of the times in past, when I came in the San Antonio study group, I remember seeing brother student regional Abdul Halim, and
right.
One thing I do remember, because he always presented such a welcoming spirit, I always remember that about him. And
yes, sir.
I remember he shared with us one time that his wife was not a Muslim, so to speak, in the registered sense.
Right.
And he shared, I remember he spoke about how important it was not to allow, how he was able to manage that and stay married. Where I saw in my experience in the city I was in, people not overcome that problem. But I always thought that was a beautiful example in him because of how he was able to hold on to his marriage and still hold on to that post and still be such a good example. I always will admire him for that.
Right. Minister Farrakhan, you know, one thing the minister teaches us all is that, you know, let Allah handle that, because your wife, if she's not in the nation, but you know, she's not in that registered sense, but yet she fathers children for you. I mean, I'm sorry, she fathers for you, brought them into the world for you, and nurtured you and stayed with you.
Wow.
Through thick and thin. You know, I can't see, because I'm a Muslim, that where I have to go ahead and push you out the door. Time and circumstance would cause that if it's not right for you. But if this is the person that Allah you prayed for and Allah blessed you with, then it is what it is, brother.
Wow.
Stay with whom you with, because if you go ahead and run out there now with today's women, the way they are now, man, you're gonna be hoping, just like on that Tyler Perry movie. I wish that I, you know, got married. Anybody seen, you know what I'm saying? Anybody seen her, you know what I'm saying?
Oh.
You know? Or Jill Scott, or whoever her name was in that movie. Yeah, man. You know, you get into situations like that. I mean, some people some believers have married people who they were in the nation, but they married the person because they liked the person or whatever, you know. But hey, if you with them, I mean, you can't break up the family structure.
Wow. Yes, sir.
You know?
That's wonderful, brother. Yes, sir. You know, brother, when you started compiling some of the history, is there any particular, because you mentioned one when the minister came to visit and to do the ceremony for the mosque, becoming the mosque, what other things or what other moments come to your mind as you think about the beginning of Houston and the beginning of your faith in Islam in Houston?
Oh man, during that time, as Sister Lavette Muhammad down here said, is that during that particular time in the 80s, it was very unpopular to be Muslim. Because, you know, Minister Farrakhan, man, you talking about doing the power products, during that time of power, and you talking about during that time also when crack was prevalent. And I tell you, man, we came up under those circumstances here. I remember with the Final Call newspaper down in downtown Houston, I was asked to not stand in front of a store. I mean, the police came out, white Caucasian gentleman, you know, and you can look at in his eyes that he didn't want to even come and ask me not to move. But some person, the manager, whatever, in this store, he didn't like the fact that I was standing out there with the Final Call newspaper. And during that particular time in the 80s, man, like I said, it was very unpopular time to be Muslim. So you know, man, I tell you, that was some, brother, you bringing back some good memories for me, because, you know, I was a young man, starting off in the nation. I did not, you know, I just didn't have no direction on where I need to go at the time. You know, coming out of high school, under Ronald Reagan at the time, Reaganomics, all the frenzy black folks, man, scaring the hell out of you, talking about if Ronald Reagan get in office, you know, that all is gonna be terrible for black people. And in a sense, we had jobs to where as a teenager, you can go and just get a job at that particular time before Reagan.
Mm.
When Reagan got in office, it became a little bit more difficult. Yeah, I remember, man, the mosque became, when we first started off as a study group, we used to meet in each other's homes. We used to be hanging out with each other. Captain Khalil.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to be hanging out with each other, going, whenever the boxing matches come, we'll be at a brother's house watching the back. I'm telling you, man, FOI would travel a lot, and I miss that a lot. We used to go to the public parks after the meeting. We go to the park. I remember that once. I remember seeing Dr. Halim cutting the avocados to make the guacamole. I have memories of that. We were playing basketball together.
Brother, we have about a minute left.
Yes, sir.
But I want you to go ahead and shout your book out, and we're going to make sure we get the information so we can purchase your book. So go ahead and shout the book out so the audience will know how to get a hold of you.
Yes, sir. The book can be purchased at our website. And the website, I'm going to say it slowly. It's called theunequaltruth.podia.com. And if you go there, you'll see the book on the site. Just click on the book and it goes to the ordering page. For limited time right now, we're going to offer the book at $3. It is a digital book, ebook. This is where we're starting at now to help us try to raise the monies that we need.
Yes, sir.